okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
If
all
I
right.
mute like unexpectedly, it's probably because someone's trying to talk to me.
No
That's okay.
worries. That's fine. We're now live. Mics are hot. Go. Welcome to
Go.
episode
Hello.
8. So this is the 9th episode, because we always do an
But
episode
it's
0.
8.
We have not prepared, but as everybody knows, this is just a chat and a hangout, basically.
Yep.
I've got to do a thing. I've got to do a thing, because it's sad to do a thing.
I'm gonna move all my windows around. All my windows are. Where the fuck am I gonna put everyone?
There we go.
You go over here.
YouTube.
Did anyone post it in the thingo? No.
No,
We
got the chat
are
up.
live again.
Yeah, post it in the what's name.
We are live again. Take from that what you will.
Yeah, my internet is slow to a
Your
crawl.
internet chat itself.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it's because you have to do all hard.
I did
all the
wander
hard yards.
upstairs to the studio with the intention of putting the big fat i7 Behemoth as the streaming machine, which probably would have been a smarter idea than the 440p. So I've got a P50 that I was going to swap over, and then I found out I've really got like a slightly better machine. But yeah, so we just got to wait to view your channel. No.
Oh, the sun's coming up. Congratulations, everyone. The sun's coming up. That means the world has not stopped revolving.
We could get MG on here.
Well, if he's about, yeah.
If he's about, he normally appears. If he's not busy, he normally drops in at some stage. Normally he's got a million things. It's his day off to do home things.
Oh, come on. Why can't I do a link?
Because you're not using an Apple IIe, and you're not doing that correct linking process that you did in the database program when I was a child.
Why? Oh, here we are. No, I said I'm going to close the internet now because it's probably messing with the stream. I just said that if you bear with me a moment, I've got to mess up the stream.
More bandwidth.
Okay, has anybody got any media they want to talk about?
I've got lots, but Avagdu, you go first because you're not normally here and you're going to run away. So Avagdu, give us some media.
I listened to the audiobook of Forever War. I think that's the one you recommended to me.
By Joe Haldeman, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Haldeman's Forever War.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think?
I think that's a very interesting book, and anybody who's read Starship Troopers, I recommend reading that book, not because they're similar, because they're very different.
Well,
yeah, that's yeah.
Have I got an interesting story for you about that? Because Heinlein actually read Starship. Haldeman read Starship Troopers, and Forever War is a response to Starship Troopers, and not only that, but Heinlein read Forever War and complimented Haldeman and said, yes, if I was writing it when you wrote it, I would have written it like that. So they were both very complimentary about each other's work that kind of inspired both of them. So yeah, there was no beef between Heinlein and Haldeman on that. It is a very interesting book, designed to point out the theory of relativity and the futility of war and stuff. A follow-up book that you might want to read, funnily enough, is Old Man's War, if you haven't read it.
I was also gonna suggest Forever Peace as well, which is it's the next one, like linearly in the series. Forever Peace is the next one in the series, but it doesn't make any sense because it's not set in the same. It's thematically linked with the previous knowledge, but it's not set in the same universe. So it's entirely separate, but it's based around a similar thing. But Forever Peace, I think, is just as good, although it's not related, and it's also just as fascinating type thing. But
Mm.
yeah, go listen to Forever Peace or go and read Forever Peace, etc.
There's a few
Yep.
sequels to
Yeah. So
Old Man's War as well that are worth reading.
yeah. So I'll probably go through the whole series. Because I got nothing but time to listen to stuff.
Yep.
And but yeah, I'm actually in Old Man's War right now.
Mhm.
I have about 6 hours left of that.
My favourite is the drill sergeant's one where he lines them all up at boot camp, and he does "Is anybody black here?" And a few people put up that because they're all now giant green human replicants, and the people that put their hands up to say they're black get sent off for a run around the armory shed. And he goes through all these things. Is anybody gay? Doesn't matter. Off you go. I've got no problem with gay people, but for some fucking reason, all the people that have poured out their heart to me and told me of their undying love for me have done so under fire. If you want to tell me you love me, or you want to have a gay tryst, do not do it while we're being shot at. Run round the armory block. And he finds a new thing with every sort of group of people until he gets down to recruit Mandala. And he goes through a whole list of things, and he can't find anything he dislikes about him. And he goes, "Well, what was your job?" And he goes, "I was a copywriter." And he goes, "Did you write any copy about anything I've said?" And he's apparently done this motorbike tire ad called Mr. Wheelie. And he was like, "Sometimes you've just got to get on the road." And that was his copywriting on it. And he was part of sorting out the mascot. And the drill sergeant pulls up his tunic, and he's got a tattoo of Mr. Wheelie. And he goes, "You don't have to run round the armory block. You're the first person in about 10 years that hasn't had to do that 5-mile run. Because when I was down on my luck and I was newly divorced, I looked up and I saw the Mr. Wheelie thing, and it said, sometimes you've just got to get on the road. And I got on my Harley and I got on the road and joined the Marine Corps." So this one time, amazingly, this will be a story I tell my grandchildren. You don't have to run around the armory shed. But it's a fucking great scene. And Old Man's War is just hilarious.
Yep.
And I've been listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, which is
Cyberpunk
retrospective. Yeah. If you've seen the movies already that they talk about, I think it's probably better. There's a lot, there's a lot of spoilers because they basically recapped the whole thing, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend.
It reminded me of some movies.
The newer William Gibson books, because it's basically revised cyberpunk. So The Peripheral, which was a TV series a little while ago, is amazing. Really, really William Gibson. Yeah. It's the best William Gibson thing they've ever done. Neuromancer is coming out this year or next year. They're doing a TV series of that, I think. Yeah, it's a TV series, so that should be cool. And the sequel to The Peripheral. Oh, what the fuck is it called? It's on my phone. Like it's all like proper cyberpunk shit. The new ones. He went a bit off reservation a little bit. The new novel is called Agency, which is the sequel to The Peripheral. And what I like about The Peripheral is it's Appalachian folks in the cyberpunk universe, which is really great because they're proper Appalachian, like super dangerous humans, and they make the mistake of sending some mercenaries to take out this guy and his sister. But all the Appalachian ex-Marines that have all been, jacked up with all sorts of subdermal communications gear, so they can patch into like homemade drones and shit. They're really into 3D printing and racing drones through the woods and shit. And they just fuck them right up. So it really goes proper Mountain Man type shit in the middle of it, as well as being super high tech. Including a high tech version of London that's just terrifying. Which is great. Yeah. They do
sell London well, I believe.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really funny. The way they, Gibson, obviously science fiction is always talking about now, but with a few MacGuffins in the way and set in the future. But they really go into, because he's quite fascinated with the Russian autocracy and kleptocracy. with the combination of Russian mafia and oligarchs and stuff like that. So he really goes into it on that. And Agency seems just as good. I like it when he does a trilogy because you get to run around in that world a bit more.
I'm gonna bring in then my first ever science fiction and also dystopian Hellscape Futures, which was software by Rudy Rucker, which is absolutely brilliant story. There's 3 of them in the series, I want to say. There's software, wetware, and something else, I think. But yeah, the Ware series by Rudy Rucker is really good. Along with
read any
similar
of
veins.
those. There you go.
Yeah, they're only short. They're only like they're proper short novellas type thing in terms of what they are.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely brilliant in terms of what goes on. The first one's fascinating because it's all there's all the robots are stuck on the moon for various reasons. All the robots on the moon all have actual personality and what's going on type thing. And they've obviously gained enlightenment through existence. Enlightenment of existence, and then they take up the person who basically allowed them to become enlightened, because he's dying, and then it's sort of like what the outcome of all that is and how it all works. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff. Yeah, well worth a read and a listen. Yep. What do you want, Stinky Cat?
And on a more meta level, I've recently renewed my library card, which was cool. And libraries have gone online in an amazing way in the UK.
They have.
So if you sort of weird stuff like you can download audiobooks to your phone without ever setting foot inside the library, and ebooks, which isn't too revolutionary. But what I did find out is if you're logged into a computer rather than a phone, when it downloads the audiobook, it just downloads MP3s. They literally give you the MP3.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is they've in their mind they've only got 10 copies of these books, of the audiobooks, so they'll only let you take them out
10 copies.
every so often, right? And if you download it to your phone, you have to use their app, which deletes them after 21 days, like 3 weeks. But if you've downloaded them to a computer, like an actual desktop or laptop, it just goes, oh, these are MP3s. So you sort of move them to your music file and you've got the book forever. Obviously, I have not pointed this out to the library system because that would be stupid. They'll do something stupid. But, it's kind of fucking cool. So, yeah, libraries are cool. I've applied for a library volunteers job to do like tech support and help out in the library in general. So I haven't heard back about that yet. But it has the distinction. Well, they've got a volunteer service, and they've got this sort of tech buddy service that they do, where somebody that knows how to do shit comes in, and you sort of like wander up with your various tech problems. But I think if I'm a volunteer there, I get free internet access more than just the 1 hour that you get every visit type thing. Anyway, so yeah, and they've got like desks to do homework on and all sorts of shit. Virtually no books.
Yeah, that's the big thing now. Is like virtually no books in libraries. It's fucking bizarre.
Like,
yeah,
they've only got about 5 times more books than me.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, no, I had an argument when they kicked off the new Yackandandah library, which is now like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I turned around and said, so the whole building will be the library then? And they looked at me like I was mad. I'm like, so the whole building will be the library then? Because it's the front quarter of the fucking building is like the front desk and the sit down space and the conference space and the fucking library now.
No.
And it's like the whole building's gonna be the library, isn't it? Type thing. And they're like, no, it's just this little bit at the front. I'm like, you're fucking stupid, then, aren't you? And they're like, what? I'm like, I could fill this place myself. What point is there to having a library if it doesn't have?
I've got more DVDs than they have, definitely.
yeah.
And probably more CDs than my local branch.
Oh yeah, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been getting more into physical media.
Yeah,
streaming's been pissing me off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, either buy it or steal it.
Streaming's great for certain things. I've been on it for 10 years. So
Yeah.
Streaming's great, but
No.
yeah, physical media, and you know, flash the firmware in your Blu-ray drive, and you know, you can change the
Location
what is
setting.
it? Format shifting. Format
Yeah.
shifting.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you
Yep.
can back up your discs,
Yep.
and it's a good way to go.
Yep.
Well, I've been collecting 3D Blu-rays because I've got a PS4 and a PSVR headset, which I got for laughably cheap when you consider what you can do with it. So I've actually got a 3D home cinema as well as DVD players and shit. So that's pretty cool. And I can watch
So-
Blu-rays from my computer or my Blu-ray drive on the Oculus Quest 2,
Ooh.
which is pretty
I was gonna
nice.
say, so what is the picture of 3D? So rules or
Sorry, you're broken up.
oh, how is 3D movies now? What? How do they work?
Well, they've
now?
stopped making them because it was a massive flop.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think if I was paying an extra $10 to watch it in 3D, I would be pissed. But given I can go and buy the Blu-ray 3D version, which generally comes along with the standard Blu-ray version and a download as well, if you're watching it in that format and you've only paid a few dollars for the actual disc, which is what I've tended to do, but I obviously didn't collect every Blu-ray movie. They didn't really shoot rom-coms in 3D. They mostly shot sci-fi and kids movies in 3D. So I think I've got all of the sci-fi I would have watched in Blu-ray 3D, and they're pretty
3D.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got things like Dread with Carl Urban. I've got most of the 3D Star Wars movies, and anything sci-fi, and most of the Marvel stuff that they shot in 3D. I've got a new appreciation of the Hobbit trilogy, even though it's trash and it should never have been 3 movies. But it was fun to watch the technical end of it being in 3D and going, yeah, you nearly drove Ian McKellen insane by making him shoot the 3D scenes on his own without any other dialogue. And there's a heartbreaking scene of Ian McKellen just trying to not burst into tears at being separated from all these people that he likes. But because they're having to turn him into 3D, they had to shoot him entirely on green screen, which was bullshit and not worth annoying Ian McKellen over, to be quite frank.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a bit of a disaster. It is fun watching things like Jurassic Park being done in Jurassic World in 3D and stuff like that. It's a fun thing. It's not something I'm going to do all the time. It's just a fun thing that the PS4 does. Because I bet you could get hold of a PS4 for $50 and a VR kit for another $50.
Still even trying.
So for $100, I mean, obviously it's not much good if you're watching a movie with someone, but if you're an antisocial monster like me, it's bloody perfect. It's really nice.
Yeah. You've reminded me with the interlude
Alien
there.
Romulus, by the way.
Oh, go on.
Alien Romulus. I've watched
Alien
about
Romulus.
10% of it. I have to be in the mood for sort of like horror sci-fi.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I haven't watched it.
I'll just say recommend. I'm not going to give any spoilers if you guys haven't seen it.
yeah, it's basically a bunch of teenagers try and steal some equipment off a defunct floating laboratory that's owned by Weyland Yutani.
Mhm.
And there's a reason it's defunct, obviously. Oh, what's in the dark room? Surely nothing would be bad. Yeah, it's good. It is. I mean, it's one of those things. It's why you don't have a lot of, it's like that parody of sci-fi, but with black people called Hell No. Where black people just go, no, we're the first people that die. We're not doing it. Fuck this shit.
I'm going to mention in here, there is a Feral Historian 2 weeks ago did Alien versus Predator, a coming of age story.
Yeah.
And it was, I have not seen all of the Alien versus Predator stuff, but it was a really good take on the comic books. And it actually made me want to go and read them.
Like the Dark Horse comic books. Yeah, they're quite good actually. You
Yeah.
get a lot of backstory about the what are they called? Yautja.
Yes.
which is the Predator's own name for themselves. The aliens don't have a name because they're monstrous killing machines, born out of of basically H.R. Geiger having an H.P. Lovecraft nightmare.
Yes.
You know, cosmic terror. Oh, you can't even talk to this. It's not even going to tell you. It's just going to eat you, and in the really horrified way, rape you as well. That's what it's basically there to do. So yeah, they're good. The aliens are a good cosmic horror thing. But yeah.
Well, that's my 3, I guess.
Yep.
No, you did really well. Yeah.
You did very well considering you're walking around at work, blindsided by questions.
We had time to prepare and everything, and did we? Fuck. My first recommendation of the evening, that's not related to anything, is a movie that's on YouTube at the moment called Absolute Denial, and it's about a bloke, just an ordinary guy, an American guy, who gets obsessed with AI. And let me see. I'll put this in the chat for you. Even though I'm wrecking the live stream by going into another channel, but this is the easiest way of doing it.
It's okay. I can find it myself. I've already found it. Don't worry.
But for those of you who are playing the home game, there it is. It's a really, really good animated movie about somebody that rents a warehouse, lines up a whole bunch of domestic PCs, and builds a sentient AI. And it's all about, oh fucking shit, I've done this thing, I've had to neuter it so it can't get on the internet, and sooner or later it's going to find out. Oh, and also, what was it called? Something Commandos. Creature Commandos. I can't remember if I mentioned it previously.
No.
That's I think it's an extension from the Suicide Squad, so it's DC, but it's all people you haven't heard of, and it kind of hangs around a semi-sentient robot called GI Robot that was considered too scary to deploy in World War II, and is absolutely obsessed in the 21st century with killing Nazis. But it's got the most disturbing, howl-like, calm voice all the time. It's like, hello, would you like to kill Nazis with me? I like killing Nazis. And then it's like, well, we don't really have Nazis anymore. Well, that is unfortunate. Can you find some Nazis for us to go and kill them together? And it's just really fucking, it's really funny. I found it by accident after somebody did a parody on a YouTube short. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos. It's hilarious. Available wherever you normally steal media.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, Amazon is and Netflix and Apple Plus are these giant corporations that just want to suck down $20 a month from every living human on Earth, and they keep deleting stuff. It's like, fair enough. I'll pay $20 if I can watch everything. Happily pay $20 for everything. I'm not going to pay $20 for you to randomly take shit off. If I want random and shit movies, I'll watch Tubi.
Yeah.
And me and Harlequin shouldn't be watching Tubi at all. But if you use the Opera browser and you switch on the VPN and you tell the VPN that you're in America, you can watch Tubi.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be slowed down by a VPN because it's stuttering a bit, as soon as you've started whatever episode you're watching, you can switch off the VPN because it only checks to let you in. It doesn't check you while you're there. So you get this nice fat 500 megabits pipe to some seriously weird movies. About 20% of everything is cool. You know, stuff you've heard of or stuff you've meant to watch. And the rest of it is like Sharknado. It's just like the rest of it is what I would say Kentucky Walmart by the checkout DVDs.
Yeah. Literally the 2 for $1 at the fucking grocery store.
2 for $1? I'm afraid they won't be buying that. It's got to be like 25 cents with a chocolate bar taped to it. That's how shit they are.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Go on then. I'm going to mention this person. He goes by Doctor Implausible on everything I know. I don't know his real name. He does podcast though, but I'll put the link for the blog in the show notes so you can just follow everything he does. Does TikToks, does YouTube like podcasting business, does movie and book reviews, but also talks a lot about media stuff because he's actually a professor of media in Canada somewhere or other. I don't know exactly where, but in Canada somewhere or other exists this doctor who talks about media a lot. Just a fascinating guy, but he's forever bringing up like he talks about like Romulus. He talked about Alien Romulus in the last couple of weeks. He's talked about Prey, which is another thing I've got to go and watch. He talks about all that sort of like meta sci-fi stuff and where it comes from and where it's going to. And the number of times that I find myself like writing down his fucking books and going, oh, hang on a second, that was the thing I was thinking about. He did it last week with a book that I can't remember the name of. It's something to do with art history. And he just like directly gives you the fucking like the AI art history thing, and then I go, oh fuck, that was the book I needed.
I need to subscribe.
That was the book I needed before I needed it. That was the book I needed type thing. And then this person's like randomly mentioned it.
It's because Feral Historian is only one guy, and I get it. He can only put out so much stuff. He is funny.
Much stuff.
He reminds me a lot of Peter Weller in RoboCop, or the guy that played Max Headroom.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing is because they're all just one person, or in our case it's a very, very small group of people doing it type thing.
Yeah, you can't expect too much.
You can't expect the law of return averages says that like how many it's like 500 hours of off screen stuff to make 1 hour of like period drama, like averaged type thing. So like it's so much, it's ridiculous, and it's exactly the same. We're closer to the edge curve, but it's still fucking the same amount of like actually when you sit down and do it, there's an awful lot of in the background type thing of going on, which is always surprising when we pull it out of nothing in a week, as we are doing this week kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's half an hour of Kim being awake.
Doctor Implausible.
Yeah, but yeah, the Implausible, Doctor Implausible, but yeah, Implausible. He's on everything, so just like wherever you have media, follow there. But yeah, definitely worth a read of the blog. Definitely worth a listen to the YouTube.
I mean, if we're sticking to some YouTube for a bit, Gary's Economics. Holy shit, that guy's fun. That's the most. Yep. He's furious.
Did you see the question time where he just shut all over the board on question time this week?
Oh yeah,
that was fucking hilarious. I was laughing like no one's business when he was.
It's really funny because people haven't quite learned not to fuck around with this guy.
Yeah,
because if you start to fudge or not tell the truth, he's like,
tell the truth. He's gonna call you. Yeah, he's not gonna he's not called on it type thing. He's like, no, you're fucking lying, and I'm gonna prove to you you're fucking lying. And the outcome of you lying is a whole bunch of like people that are related to me not doing well.
I mean, they should just do a meme of that bit where Rick and Morty, they split time accidentally, and he goes, right, we got some time. I'm gonna prove to you mathematically that you and Summer are both pieces of shit. And he just wheels on a whiteboard, and that they need to replace Rick's head with Gary from Gary's Economics.
Yeah,
I'm gonna prove to you that you're pieces of shit.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's well, he's just written a book on wealth transference and why the working classes are getting seriously fucked in very simple language. He's just like, and people keep trying to say, oh, I want to trade stocks and shares like you did, and it's like, I did it, made a load of money, made sure my parents were sorted, and then just thought, nah, this is bollocks, I'm off.
No, he literally like he bought himself a house, right? Bought his sister a house. I think he's only got one sister. Bought his sister a house. Made sure his mum and dad's houses, like mum and dad's houses, were both paid off, type thing. So they were both sorted. And then went, there's nothing else. Like, there's no point. This is the end of the like. How much more money do I ever fucking need? Like, I have the amount of money. And the weird thing is, if you turned around to him and said, right, everyone above $1.2 million, give away all your fucking money. We're gonna put you in a fucking, put you in a Guilty Insurance Society. He'd be like, here's the money.
Yeah.
Let's sort it out. He'd be, if you wanted him to be the economics minister and actually solve the fucking problem, you just said, well, we can't pay you, like type thing.
This week,
just fucking sort it out.
The Labour Party were trying to see if they could get on the show, and he was like, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, you'll get the chief economist on.
The weird thing is I think they'll, like it was an interesting hearing him talk about it, saying like, I want them to have the right of recall and etc. And it's like, but they've already got the right of recall. Like they own the BBC. They can go on and invite you on You don't need to appear on. They don't need to appear on your show to do this type thing.
Yeah.
They can send Raina up onto fucking BBC, and you can sit down and have a real interview with her. But then watch how they cut it, because they won't let you fucking talk.
Well, no, the point was
And
the
that's the
Labour
problem.
Party were trying to get on his show.
Yeah.
It wasn't they
Yeah.
were inviting him to be on the BBC. The Labour Party were going, "Oh, we'd love to be on the podcast."
Yeah.
And it was like, I'll have to think about it.
But they're never going to fucking answer anything. They're never going to fucking answer
Well,
a question.
I did send a few recommendations when I heard that.
Yeah.
I said, you basically got to get permission to keep a tally of all the bullshit and give them a bullshit
Yeah.
score at the end of the show.
Yep.
So 1 million people are going to, get audited for their bollocks and their deflection and
Yeah.
hesitations and not answering questions. And they'll get a score out of 100
Yeah.
about how much bullshit they tried
Yeah.
to spin. That will stop them asking.
Yep.
You know, that's how you do it. I was thinking of writing to our mayor in Manchester, who's pretty famous in the UK.
Get Andy to fucking get Andy to have him brought up, and then have a fucking conversation with him.
Yeah.
How do I solve all the problems? Do this, sorted.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do as the mayor of Manchester?
To basically hold a loaded gun to political parties' heads in the form of like a 200-person civilian assembly. So question time, but people that are going to seriously ask questions, and then an adjudicator. I mean, dressed as something funny. I don't know.
Yes.
Like a giant chicken or a giant pig, keeping score. And if you score below it, if we can't get a political party, any political party, to score above 25%, then everybody in the audience throws in £2 and we just pay the deposit and we pick someone from amongst ourselves to challenge them.
Yeah.
It's like, we can pay the deposit and go for an election. Because unlike American elections, they've got to give you airtime.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that your interviewer should be dressed as a chicken, like the chicken from Mickey 17 from 2 weeks ago.
Or like the chicken from Family Guy.
Because that character is the funniest character ever. Yeah.
But you got to fuck this shit over.
No.
And that's how, if you did it successfully in Manchester and the next MP from Manchester or Central Manchester or Salford was just an ordinary bod and was just like, okay, I'm an independent MP. I'm going to YouTube vlog every second I'm on the clock.
Yep.
Unless it's for some reason I get into a meeting where it's about the security of the country.
Yeah.
This is me in my office in the House of Parliament. This is me in my bedsit in central London. Not my house that I'm claiming millions of pounds for, my bedsit.
Yep.
And I get up and I'm close enough to Westminster that I can toddle across the road, I make sure that my bedsit's got a kettle. I'm making my own coffee. I'm not eating at the fucking the subsidised restaurants or anything like that, or the private members bar. Nope.
Private members bar, yeah.
No, not doing that. Not costing you people a bean. Because you don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be claiming for the, if I'm getting paid nearly $100,000 a year, I can pay my own fucking rent on a bedsit or a house share. It's going to cost me £700 a month. Okay.
And
just vlog every day. Guess what I did today? I waited for 10 hours for somebody to actually say something interesting. I sat on that bench. I went for pee breaks and I went out for lunch. I brought my own. I literally make my own sandwiches in my bedsit. Just go no.
Yeah.
Vegemite sandwiches. No. In a in like a lunchbox.
Yep.
Hey! He's on the move. He was on the move.
He appeared, and then he went away.
Sorry.
It's going to be on the show while driving, which we don't recommend or endorse, unless you do something cool.
I don't think I'm allowed to do that. So.
Avagdu was obviously not just driving then. He was obviously just getting back into the cab of the vehicle and then accidentally pressed the wrong button. There was no driving involved, thank you, police officer.
Otherwise, we'd have to refer to his contribution to the show as evidence.
Yes, that's right.
By the way, if you see a Cybertruck, you got smack it on the front panel. That shit will come straight off.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I have seen a few around.
And then please also release the drones out of the bottom of your vehicle, because I know that you have drone capabilities, and then have them land the thermite drone on top of that, on top of the Cybertrucks, please, and burn them all out, please. That'd be great.
Yeah, those fuckers are catch fire too. They provably catch fire. They catch fire if you drive it past a Donald Trump building. They just burst into flames.
They burst into tears. It's weird.
I've seen one of those little silver guys just burst into flames. Damn it, Hut. Oh man.
Coincidental.
I mean, you know how many they've sold. They wouldn't tell anybody how many they've sold for a while. And then they had to do a recall, and then they have to recall all of them, which is 46,250 or some shit. So we know how many there are out there.
Yeah. We have the count. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
I like driving in my car. It's been sprayed with a swastika.
That was the original. There was obviously Madness's "I like driving in my car."
Yeah.
The secondary verse, the second verse was something interesting, meme like, let's say. Yep.
Oh dear.
No.
Oh, and people don't want to buy them for some reason.
God forbid.
I wonder why that is.
You just tanked your company. You just tanked your company in Germany. What did you think was going to happen?
In a country with like a 45% uptick in the purchase of electric vehicles, you cannot sell a Tesla.
Yeah. They went fuck off.
The mad thing is Donald Trump tried to make that into terrorism. But the best thing that can happen to the owner of a Tesla right now is somebody sets your Tesla on fire, so you can go and buy a much cheaper EV that doesn't attract the kind of hatred Tesla attracts.
Go buy, take your recycled money and then go buy a Nissan Leaf.
You can buy a new Nissan Leaf for the insurance payout.
Yeah.
Nobody will
and get a better car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the major, a guy that owns about 15% of Tesla, actually asked Elon Musk to step down because it was hurting the business so bad.
Yes, I did read that. Yeah.
But all car parts have now got a 25% levy coming into the US, so that every battery and every...
They don't have to cross backwards and forwards more than once, at minimum.
Yeah. But every battery and every drivetrain is made in China.
Yeah.
So Teslas are just going to cost another 25% at least.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the most expensive EV in the world that you can't drive. Because the best thing that could happen to it is somebody totals it while you're not in it. And you get the insurance money.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what the premiums on insuring Tesla against, sort of vandalism are now. I bet it's pretty.
Oh, fuck knows. Yeah, it must be. Yeah. Yep. No, my neighbor's got one, and I do giggle whenever it comes out. Whenever it comes out and parks it on the street, because it's fucking. I'm waiting for the car to burn. I'm literally waiting for the car to burn, and it's like they have another car which they like drive it around in all the time, and the Tesla just gets parked in the garage and is not used.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes out of the garage and goes on the road. I'm like, I wouldn't leave that on the road if I were you. Like, there's no way I would leave that on the like not even the fact you live next to me, I wouldn't leave that on the road.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the Cybertruck is kind of like that car Homer Simpson designs.
Exactly.
When it gets employed by the car company, they're sort of like
the problem there, of course, is that Homer's truck works. I mean, I know it looks naff, but it still works. So it's yeah.
That's been funny. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the US has lost all credibility. I'm only saying this because Avagdu's popped out. Sorry, Avagdu, but it is pretty impressive that in 2 months they've gone from being the backbone of NATO to everybody else in the world that was in NATO is now joining this alternative to NATO, so that basically the Americans can't veto any decisions they make regarding Ukraine. And basically, it's going to be boots on the ground inside the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And somebody was
Well, as soon as Putin fucks up and does it again, and crosses the line, it's going to be, because the thing is Turkey fucking hates them, and Turkey's already is already fucking grasping a bit to get in there type thing, because they're just like, well, we'll fucking go in and sort it out. Poland's not gonna, there's no way Poland's gonna let them fucking cross back over again. Like, talk about lost the fucking 100 years out of a conflict. Look no further than Poland. You know, half their fucking country's still part of like what is not Poland.
Yeah, it's not going
You
to
know,
be tolerated,
fucking
and it
ridiculous.
also brings
Yeah.
a whole bunch of nukes online. To sort
Yeah.
of, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think the British or the French would ever launch a nuclear weapon at the Soviet Union, but it's kind of like that. I'll send a nuke. It's like, yeah, fuck around and find out, see what happens.
Yeah. It's a bit hard to send the nuke into the Soviet Union, mate. They haven't been existed since 1984.
Well, yeah, into Russia.
Into Russia. I got you.
1990, I think.
1990. Yeah, I don't know. I was young
there.
But I remember it happening, but I was very, very young. I do not remember.
And when I say I was there, I was at Checkpoint Charlie 2 days after the wall came down, trying to get a passport to go to East Germany. I was there, and they looked at me like I was fucking crazy. That was fun. So yeah, we missed the news and ended up in Berlin, which was awesome. So they've really annoyed everybody and paved the way for China, who are
keep going along, keep going on its little journey to take over the world.
They totted up the European armies, just the European army, the military power of the EU, and just the EU can outperform America in planes, tanks, armored vehicles, personnel, all that sort of shit. The number of people that Europe can call on that are militarily trained to like literally oppose Russia actually outnumbers Russia. Like all of it. Like every last person in a Russian uniform is outnumbered by Europe. And they're quite used to working together because they got the platform of the EU. They've done exercises together, and now they've got
constantly,
the best part of 1,500 miles of border with with Russia. Showing my age there. So yeah, I think it's going to happen.
I think just going back to the point of Soviet Union versus Russia is, I don't think the leaders of the Soviet Union were ever stupid enough. There was obviously competition there. There was obviously like much larger dynamics going on type thing. But I don't think that anyone in charge of the Federation was ever stupid enough to actually go, this is not just going to end in tears for everyone type thing. Like you obviously got the person who was the biggest cunt in the whole lot of them, in terms of Putin doing what the fuck he did, instead of just going, well, I could just destabilize the fucking government and no one would ever question it. Like, they've actively destabilized governments around the world, doing all the things they've been doing previously, I think, and gotten the fuck away with it, and no one can really turn around and say anything about it. It was purely the fact that he turned around and said, no, I'm actually going to go put boots on the ground. It's like, how fucking dumb are you, mate? Like, how fucking, like, I get you're upset and you don't want this thing to happen all the rest of the time.
To be fair, NATO
but there's better ways to get around
let them do it. All the land that Russia currently holds in Ukraine, they've had that since 2014.
Yeah, they gave it over.
And NATO didn't do anything.
They allowed it to occur
because they couldn't get a resolution to go through to actually put boots on the ground, which is why we're giving them loads of money, because it's an extremely cheap way of taking out a superpower. But what America's done now is they've basically gone, oh, we can do it all alone.
Well, they've taken their bat and ball and gone home. And it's a bit like, this doesn't work, because when you set up the cricket pitch and you own the stumps and you own the thing, but all the players are someone else's, and you decide to kick everyone out of the stadium, they just go and play in the car park, mate.
And they've also effectively torched their own armaments industry.
Yeah.
Because they need loads of shit from China to make them.
Yeah.
And China's
and if not China, then Taiwan. Yeah. And China's like, no way. Yeah.
So massive chunks. I mean, this is going to destroy the American car industry. It's going to basically bring about a depression, not just a recession. It will bring about a depression.
An actual depression.
Lots of people in America will attempt to leave America at some point to go to either Canada or Mexico. Yeah. Because the economy will be so.
Oh no!
Fucked.
If I was brown and I'd gone to America, I would no longer be moving. I'd be like, no, we're fucking off now, home. Like we're going somewhere else, anywhere else but here. Like there's no way I would exist. as a working class person in fucking America. Like, get fucked. No, you obviously just want to kill me. You wanted to kill me beforehand, but now you really want to fucking kill me.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But I also think that it's a wake up call for, like, Rayner's budget in the UK or mini budget statement type thing in the last week has completely fucking backfired. Like, everyone is turning around saying, like, as a response to her doing that, you've got to be fucking joking. That's the broad scopes of like what everyone's on the card saying, like, what the fuck do you mean you're going to cut PIP payments for disabled people?
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Well,
Get fucked. Go and tax them. Go and fucking tax some fucking wealthy people, you fucking morons.
yeah.
And that's been the response. And we haven't had that previously to a large extent.
Well, 1 million people
know.
are watching Gary's Economics, so
Yeah, exactly.
and climbing.
Yeah.
So
And climbing. Yeah.
Basically, you can't get a straight answer out of the BBC anymore. So, yeah.
No.
We should probably move on to some
which is a huge
media
fucking problem.
because
Possibly. Talking about America, I've got one for you. Talking about America, I can do this well. My next good book review is the Three Californias trilogy, which takes part. It's the Wild Shore triptych is the other way of talking about it. It's the Wild Shore, the Gold Coast, and Pacific Edge, and they're all written by Kim Stanley Robinson.
All right.
And they come up because they're all very, very short. They're not very thick. Here's one, not very thick. It's 3 different looks at the future of America, which just makes them,
environmentally speaking.
environmentally speaking, as in, like, what's going on type thing. And I bring up the Wild Shore because it comes up as a response to a nuclear winter, and like a nuclear confrontation with the ex-Soviet Union, and what actually occurred. But just a great old thing. But yeah, this one's like a boy's own adventure. 17-year-old Henry wants to help make America great again. Like, but it's a great little like, the failure of that rhetoric type thing. And
when was
everyone
it
knows
written?
that I love fucking 80 something or other, 90 something or other. Hang on, I'll get you the publication date because I have it in my hand. It's an 84.
Oh,
so
that's
it's very early
pretty
on.
funny. Does it actually say "Make America Great Again"? He wants to make America great again.
Yeah, it literally says, like, on the, he literally wants to help make America great again. Like, it's literally on
brilliant.
the backstop of the thing. You can pause the video here to see. Probably where the idea came from. Yeah, my copy cost $1 from the op shop. But no, yeah, it's a fascinating little look. It's also a fascinating look at it's a bit like Man in the High Castle. It's a bit like other bits and pieces, but the 3 of them together form a really interesting look at, like, what Robinson was talking about in terms of climate fiction, like in the 80s, type thing. So all 3 of them pose California in different ways because of different circumstance and what's going on type thing, and all of them try to look past. All of them try to look past the really obvious bits and pieces. The Gold Coast, for example, is set about the time when ELF and ALF, so the Animal Liberation Fund and the Earth Liberation Fund, were at their, like, peak doing shit, like, in the background. So the Gold Coast involves the narrative of what's going on with the ELF of the time in America, in the 80s in America, but it's talking about it set the 20 years in the future, set about now type thing, 40 years in the future. But it's a really, really interesting take on what's going on, and it refers me back to Ministry of the Future, which is one of his more recent ones that's just come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the same things coming up and up again because, most obviously Robinson writes about climate fiction an awful lot. Writes about, he's writing in science fiction modality, but he's writing about climate fiction. He's writing about alternative histories type thing and what's going on, and then pointing out the really obvious, we are not doing jack shit, and that is a fucking huge fucking problem, and we need to do something like yesterday, otherwise, your planet is not going to exist.
Does he mention
that is the end of the conversation.
Campaign for the liberation of itinerant tree dwellers?
Don't believe so.
Have you not seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Oh God.
Yes,
but not for years.
Where he gets duped into joining that organisation. I am the Click Commander. If you need to know about the Click,
yes,
I am there.
Yes, that's right. And there's the whole thing where the girls set him up to, like, take the fall.
Yeah.
Over it type thing, isn't it? Type thing. Yeah. There's the whole underlying thing of them being set up to take.
She goes, well, what do you?
Jay being set up to take the fall.
What do you want to call me?
Yep.
Oh, boom boom kitty fuck. Yeah. But yeah.
I've got to mention here as well.
I've been trying to listen to Ministry of the Future. It's some hard going because it is super depressing.
Yeah.
Just people.
I
Just
think it's an easier
dropping
read
dead.
than it is. I think it's an easier read than it is a listen actually, because the chapters are so fucking short, and it's not as bad to listen to. It's not as bad to read type thing. Yeah, but like many things.
It's very
But
depressing.
no, it is a fucking hard read. But the problem is that like, so, and I had this in the last couple of weeks where I've been trying to talk to people in my climate fiction thing and saying, then they're like, but I don't get the whole thing, and it's like, what bit don't you get? And they're like, well, I don't get like how it's like 1.5 degrees, and I'm like, do you not remember what the weather was like when you were a kid, like 20 years ago? And they're like, and I'm like, I'm now 40. I'm now in my mid 40s, right? So 20 years ago, I remember what the climate was like in Australia.
Yeah.
It was not this shit. This is worse. Do you not get that?
Yeah.
And they're like, kind of. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm autistic, but also like the fuck, you don't remember what the fucking. Okay, then go and look at the fucking, you know, IPCC fucking report on the climate. It directly shows what's going on.
I mean,
And then realize that.
it
And
would,
then,
it would be different if there
but
was
then
a,
go and realize, but then go and realize that that's actually incorrect. And you need to go and listen to like Roger Hallam talking about the fact that we already passed the curve over point for species death. We already passed it. We're already fucked. There's nothing we can do. And then go tell me you shouldn't have some fucking action about that, because the outcome of that is not we're all going to die, but it's how much do we break down society to get to the next thing, right? So wake the fuck up. And people can't admit to themselves. People are unable to admit to the fact themselves that in the 1970s, a very, very clever person turned around and said, peak oil's a thing. And in the 1870s, someone turned around and said, we shouldn't be burning all of this fucking coal. It's really, really bad for the environment. We're actually destroying the fucking planet. And something's happening because of this, right? It's not like we haven't known. It's not like we don't know this is happening. It's just we refuse to fucking act. And that's the weird thing. And that's what fucking Robinson's trying to talk about, is the fact that we keep refusing to act. And eventually, some people are going to act because their life's going to fucking end otherwise type thing. That's the end of the conversation. You can't kill millions of people in India and not expect India to act.
I once filled in.
Glad you mentioned peak oil, because what the hell happened with that? It's like
no, they just carried on.
Formed my opinions for like 10 years, and then nobody talks about it.
So the thing that happened was shale oil became accessible for North America to basically pull shale oil out of shale, which became the next thing. So fracking became a thing. And also at the same time as that, BP, Shell, Texaco, everyone who owns a fucking, the UAE, everyone who owns a petroleum company, right? They bought out every single piece of research, and they stopped basically the production of research on those things. None of the research went away, but basically they just flooded the market. They basically, I can't remember the name of the guys. Who's the guy who's related to Freud, who came up with a whole like cigarette marketing campaign?
Edward Bernays.
Yeah.
So they basically hired the company that he started, that did all the tobacco stuff. They hired the same company to explain away climate change, and that's why BP all of a sudden had started putting solar panels and being a solar company type thing. And in the last year, that's all turned off again because they already won the conversation on that thing, and they already worked out they could do what they wanted to do. That's what actually happened in the media to make it all fuck off. Yeah, so it's not like it's you have to listen to the right people to know what the fuck is going on. And Roger Hallam's one of the people you can go and listen to. He's really fucking annoying. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he is a fabulously annoying dude.
He's a fabulously annoying dude. But if you just go and listen to what the fuck he's talking about, he's like, no, this is it laid bare type thing. You know, it's fucking bizarre. Yeah. But yeah, we still just driving into the fucking, driving off the fucking edge.
I'm putting on some weight so I can go full on Lord Humongous when it does happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of fucking rich people when this all happens. Like, it's not like we're going to be starving for the dumb and the rich. Like, it's not hard. It's not like there won't be easy enough to not be a vegan after the post-fall. It's quite fine.
I'm prepared to go full on Wendigo. Start eating human flesh.
Yeah.
Anybody that says I don't understand how it came to this, well, you're not losing anybody that you can rebuild society with. Oh yeah, really. That's right.
Yeah.
I can get myself a megaphone.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because it's just like that stuff doesn't like fix itself. So it's like, that's why I was wondering, what happened.
Yeah, no. No, the answer is that everything melts and then sea rise and then sea rises and because everything melted and the seas rose and then we did nothing about like animal agriculture as a system. So like we already have like every single deadly virus. The book you want is by Dr. Mark. It's not Graeber. It's Grabber, I think. I think is the name. I'll finally give it. It's called the Bird Flu book. The Bird Flu book describes perfectly exactly what will happen when it comes to like communicable diseases in the world because of what the fuck is going on. It's all like it's like we saw it with COVID and we saw it with H5N1, and monkeypox and all the rest of something. All these things are occurring because of climate change.
Yeah,
and the outcome of all
monkeypox
this
looks
is
a bit vicious.
well, the whole thing is all that stuff just happens again and again and again until we basically like wipe out enough people around the world with a disease and climate change and heat stroke and everything else that like there's the choice of we stop making human babies and we let everyone live within their means, or the other choice around that is we let Mother Nature do her best and she puts us back to reset mode and then we just reset like we have done numerous times previously within its geological record. Like we know this occurs within human scales and also within geological scale.
It's all them
that's what happened to the dinosaurs.
It's all them transgenic mice.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many generations are we talking with that? For
that? 2. You mean human generations?
I missed the question.
How many generations are we talking? What is this time scale?
Within our lifetimes, even as old people. Yeah, even within our lifetimes. Yeah.
But it will be fun.
Within our children's lifetime, it will be like copiously shit, basically.
I've got the sign.
We will see it before we die. As we've already seen it. If you look back and think about what's gone on, if you actually go and read the reports, we already know what's going on, and then our children will live with the outcome of that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the sign ready for my Zimmer frame. That makes me want to go and buy a Zimmer frame and just leave it in the lounge with a sign on it saying, "I fucking told you the end was nigh."
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's not us. We're going to be driving around in cars with spikes on, and eating people. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like when the DWP looked like they were going to make me homeless. It's like, you don't want me homeless, man. I'll be out poaching. I'll be a legend around here. You'll know who it is because it'll be like, there's a fucking crazy person in the woods with a bow poaching, wearing deer skins and shit. You'll regret that shit. When, you get reports of people driving along their cars on lonely roads at night and a bloke with antlers steps out with a bow and arrow and fucking rips them off for their cigarettes. Yeah. That shit will go down.
I think the BBC owes you a follow-up interview because you were right.
Yeah, exactly.
I was tempted to send him an email and say, dun, dun, dun. Proof of time travel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I love when I start working with it. I didn't do it at the last job because they weren't funny humans, but more or less everybody I've worked with since I did that recording, when I worked at Nestle and then I worked at Direct Line and then I worked at TGI Fridays. Every time I go to a new restaurant, you'd wait and it's like, oh, you're really old. When they find out how old I am, it's like, yeah, I'm fucking decrepit. And they say, oh yeah, you're always going on about this shit. And it's like, I went on about this shit on television, mate. And then you show them the video on YouTube because it's still up on YouTube. They're like, fuck, when did you? Oh, holy shit. And then they all get pissed when it gets to the, why do you think it'll be a pandemic, Zach? Because people are fucking stupid. And why do we have a mass pandemic? Because people are fucking stupid. And it's like, I only have to be this much smarter. It's like the guy, a bear's coming along, 2 dudes, and one of them's lacing up his shoes and getting ready. And he goes, his mate goes, I don't think you can outrun a bear. He goes, don't have to outrun a bear. I only have to outrun you. And that's basically it. I don't have to be the smartest person. I only have to be capable of making soap and catching small game. That's all I have to be able to do in order to outlive most of the people, and then I can have all their cool shit. But largely, the stupid people don't have any cool shit. That's why I wanted everybody to put a little librarian symbol in their window. That sort of basically says, if I'm dead, there's cool shit inside. If I'm not dead, you might want to knock first. Because I'm inside with my cool shit.
Yeah. It will hurt when you try this.
Yeah. I don't need bullets. All my shit I can pluck. Any projectiles I can pluck out of your twitching corpse. I'm not running out of arrows. Which is how I've got to be super careful if I go to the local archery club, because they got a 24/7 range. So I can shoot with all kinds of crazy shit on their range 24/7. And I've got a mate who loves doing shit like that and loves going out at night, like crazy times of night, hiking.
Hey, I bet you meet some interesting people at night.
I'll tell you something. My mate Sam, who has been on one of these, is I met Sam because I walked into the job at Direct Line Insurance for my interview, and I had my Maxpedition Jumbo Versipack on my hip with my suit because I was wearing all black. It looked cool. And he took one look at me and he said, I didn't get to speak to you that day, but when you started working there, I was like, somebody I've got to speak to who's got Maxpedition gear. And this guy is basically one of us. So hard. He's very dark sense of humour, does a lot of hiking, bushcrafting, fishing. And we've been on a bunch of night hikes, and we were out on a night hike near me because he's obsessed with torches. Like 18650 head torches, powerful lanterns and stuff like that. It's really like, you don't want to start him off on flashlights at all, because it will take you all night. Brilliant guy, really reliable. One of my list of people to go get immediately. In fact, we were going to do a scenario just for a laugh for the whole Nautau thing, where he was going to set off on foot from where he lives, and I was going to set off from foot where I live at night and basically meet up. Now, we were out near me in the woods. It's quite a fun walk along a disused railway line, stroke canal, and through a bit of woodland that's near me. And we're on a walk, and he's going, it's great. I love being out here at night, Zach. I got to test out my torches. He gifted me an A1 tactical torch, which is very nice. And he was the inspiration on me getting the head torch that I got, which is an 18650 head torch with 3 brightness settings for both white light and red light. And it's got the charging thing built into the torch, but you can pop in another 18650. It's a brilliant torch. I will have to look it up. It's just brilliant. And it's only 15 quid with a battery. So it's like $16 from AliExpress, and it comes with an 18650 battery. You can't say fairer than that. It's awesome. Anyway, we're testing those out because I haven't been out with my new torch setup yet. And I'm kind of into it. It's like, yeah, sometimes you really need to fucking see. And this is a good setup. And you won't believe this. So Sam's really buzzing off his new torch. I'm really enjoying using my head torch. We're in the woods. It's pitch black. And we bump into like this 14-year-old kid, neurodivergent as fuck, who's testing out his new torch at like 11 o'clock at night. And it was just like, and we said hi. He was going on about his torch, clearly neurodivergent, having a wild time. But the mad thing is, it must be like meeting an alien off a flying saucer, in that you're out there testing out your torch, which is something that normal people just don't do. And you manage to bump into another person doing the same shit on the same night. Now, he will have gone home, obviously, like twitchily neurodivergent, like somebody but worth getting. I bet he knows some serious shit about lots of stuff. But he will have gone home to his parents' house and goes, you'll never guess I bumped into someone else testing my torch as well. And he will have been called a fucking liar by his parents. No way did you meet someone. And like, it's just like, yeah. Unfortunately, he was just like a few years too young for us to say, oh, dude, we need to hang out.
Have a conversation.
Yeah. Without coming across like perverts. So we had to let that guy, we had to throw that, it was catch and release. We'll bump into him in another few years and then we'll be able to recruit him.
Speaking of torches, I have to mention, I bought these randomly on because I have another Olight thing that got me ages ago. The old O-Bulb series of little lights, and they're absolutely fucking cracking.
Yeah, that
they're absolutely fucking cracking. But they're great for like just bedside lights.
Hmm.
And they just use a standard fucking charger, and there's like every color under the sun, and they just like do their thing.
Nice.
But yeah, so if you need a kids light that actually like lasts, that isn't like a fucking kids light,
Mm.
go with one of those, an O bulb. Yep. The only problem with them is I can't make them turn off automatically. That's the only problem with them so far.
Mm.
But since small people hate being in dark anyway type thing, you just fucking like leave it going. It'll last overnight on the lower setting.
We like the dark. Dark for dark
Yep.
business.
Exactly.
But yeah. No, Sam's awesome. Yeah, but I basically met
Yeah,
Sam because I had a VersaPack on.
Yeah, you have some interesting stories too when you're testing on a light that's attached to a pistol and you're in the woods. People get really nervous about that.
Well, yeah.
You need to kind of like be a little bit further than where the normal people go in the forest, don't you? Type thing. Like let's go just further where the normal people go. You know.
Yeah, I should have been a little further away from the road.
Yeah.
You needed to do the call. You need to go, Merca. Everybody, all the other rednecks out there with their torches these torches come on with these tactical pistol lights. America, freedom, freedom, America. And then it's sort of like, and so then there'll be someone about 3 miles away just seeing the lights and just hearing America. It's like, we're not going into the woods tonight. That'd be really funny. That'd be like the clicker thing on D-Day. America, freedom, America.
Yeah. Well, you will attract the forest ranger if you do that. And,
I bet you could say to the
just
forest
make
ranger,
sure you-
America, freedom.
yeah. Well, that's pretty much what I did.
Hmm.
He's like, it's legal to do this here, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I did it here.
Yeah.
I was doing it in this location.
How much tactical shit were you wearing though? Because there's legal. And
hold on, I'll get back to you in a sec.
Okay.
That's okay. Random next thing to mention then, Zach. Come on, what's your next bit of media?
Oh, I kind of wanted Avagdu to be on this, but
Oh, okay. I can do one of mine. One of mine's random.
Okay, you do yours first.
I was gonna mention, just because it popped up again in my feed, as a good engineering point, Blondie Hacks on YouTube. They're currently making a model train, but they've made lots of other stuff as well, type thing. It's all very small scale engineering, model building stuff. But she's absolutely lovely and doesn't explain it like she explains it like you're 5 without making you realize she's explaining it like you're 5. And doesn't seem to hold a lot of negative towards the whole bits and pieces, like towards the whole, scene as such. So yeah, it was really, really fascinating listening to, and you just, follow along. She's got heaps and heaps and heaps of background stuff. Seems to do it full time now. Yeah, and just seems to be a very, very kind and lovely human being in terms of what they're producing.
Yeah.
There's obviously some other people who make engineering videos, and there's some great stuff on YouTube explaining bits and pieces, like Tubalcane and bits and pieces. But yeah, I do rate some Blondie Hacks if you want an engineering debrief, and about how to explain boilers
like
to people.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like watching. There's a woman that I can't remember her name that does science. Dr. Freya.
Dr. Fry.
Yeah, Dr. Fry. She's brilliant.
Yep. Yeah.
As when she's talking about like mental level cosmology.
Yeah.
It's like I still kind of
just doing the explanations of fucking science, and it's like we need more better explanations of science, obviously, in the world. So yeah, good.
And I kind of like
that.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I wish he smoked weed. I'd watch the Neil deGrasse Tyson on weed explaining shit. Definitely.
Yep.
Because he's just got a brilliant way of explaining stuff. It's very funny.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And okay, so my bit of media is I've just been reminded that it was on my list by Avagdu. Is season 3 of Reacher is out.
Nice.
I love the Jack Reacher series. It's fucking brilliant. It's it's good in the way that John Wick is good. older guy walking the earth, except that Reacher doesn't have any fucking money and doesn't own anything, and he's kind of like the Zen version of John Wick.
Yep.
Without being Zen about it.
Mm.
It's just really funny, and it just, you know, and it's just got great characters. It's well written. They don't deviate from the books, and they're basing each season on a book. And that guy, Alan Richards or Alan Richson, that plays Reacher, must have just walked into that fucking casting office and they went, okay, cancel everybody else. We've found Reacher. Because the
We
guy's,
found the biggest possible man.
yeah, he's just enormous. Because Reacher is enormous. That's the thing about him. It's sort of like it, because it plugs into the old man vengeance thing that we've all got now. And like you know, like when somebody's being mouthy and you just look at them, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna get to a point where I won't feel bad about hurting you. But Reacher, it's like, why do people continually fucking annoy this guy? Why don't you just take one look at him, and your predator prey sort of like sizing up of someone should be, yeah, not today. That guy's gonna rip off my head and shit down my neck. And it's like people continually fuck with him. My best friend Dean's brother is massive, but if you can imagine sort of like a very angry spherical human, because he's just like a sphere of angry muscle. He looks angry. He's massive. His arms are like legs, and people fuck with him. And his main job is basically doorman, security, martial arts teacher, and he's a brick shithouse. And people still go, I think I can take him, and regret it. And it's like, how you get no sympathy if you go, you know what, I think I'm going to point a gun at Jack Reacher. Okay.
That's right.
I'm gonna change into the I don't know this guy that's just pointed a gun at you t-shirt. You know, if I was with someone that stupid a lot of the time and I couldn't avoid it, I'd literally have that in a cargo pocket. What's that? That's in case you do something really stupid. And then I put on my I'm not with this dickhead t-shirt, and maybe I'll survive the encounter that you'll try and bring down on me. But quite frankly, this is your own fucking fault. It's like people find out who John Wick is and go, you know what? I think I'm going to try and stab him with this little knife. Okay. Give me 5. Where are you going to be? Oh, you know, phone me. I'll be in a bar downtown. You just fucking tell me how it goes. And I know I'm not going to get a phone
How
call.
are you gonna die wearing that stupid little hat?
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry, I just love that.
Yeah, I fucking love Falling Down. If you haven't seen it, that's a recommendation as well. And the thing is everybody, you know, you get serious cinema students go, this is just a breakdown of American society and the failing of values, and it's like, that's a dude having a bad day that people refuse to not fuck with.
Yeah.
And they got what they deserved.
Yeah.
Everybody that messed with that guy that was looking like he was on the edge and didn't sit him down and go, dude, you need a cold drink and a couple of deep breaths. You need to chill the fuck out.
Here's a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Here's some fucking pie. Go and fucking enjoy yourself.
If he was wandering around in Vegas, somebody would have comped him a nice room, a cold drink, and a blowjob. You just need to look into those eyes of what's his name when he's doing it, and you're just thinking, everybody deserved that. You wouldn't see someone in black military fatigues with a duffel bag that looks like it contains a shitload of guns and whang a golf ball at him to see if he moves and then laugh about it. Yeah. And it's like,
on the way.
Now you're going to die. Wearing that stupid little
hat.
I
mean, the whole of season 1 of Reacher was Reacher trying to eat some pie and have a coffee.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the whole of Reacher season 1 is like, I want a pie from the pie shop, and I want to go and visit this place where this guitarist was, like, you know, this guitarist / blues singer was type thing. It's like, just leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah, Jack Reacher's got a very short list of shit he wants. You know, he only owns a billfold and a toothbrush and the clothes he's wearing. That's it.
That's it.
He's like Kane in Kung Fu. If you found out that somebody built like that only owned a toothbrush and a money clip, your spider sense should be going fucking nuts. I was like, okay, this is someone we pick him up in case he runs after my truck and brings it down like a fucking gazelle. Yes, where would you like to go? Well, I'm not going there, but I am now. This is how we're doing it. I only own a toothbrush and a billfold. Okay, and I'm built like this. Yeah. Okay, let's not fucking annoy you then. I want to see Jack Reacher bump into someone like me. I just think like an ordinary, sensible reaction to shit. I'd love to be a Doctor Who's assistant. It's like day 2. You might want to change clothes. There's a whole wardrobe in the TARDIS. You'd be out in fucking full-on battle fatigues with equipment stuffed in it. I know we can't carry guns, but you've got form. You let someone carry a knife. I'm not going down onto an unknown planet without a knife, some binoculars, some fucking K rations, a bottle of water. Nobody takes shit along. No.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing it. And Star Trek. You're all wearing red.
Did that work so well for the redcoats?
I want to see someone beam down, take a look at the desolate planet and go, there are monsters that have killed an entire thing. And they cut to me and I'm putting a Hawaiian shirt over my red shirt. And they'll be like, what? I don't know. It's Hawaiian shirt weather. It's like when people don't believe I can shoot. It really upsets them to look at me and it's sort of like, yeah, but you didn't reach for the gun. No, I'll let somebody else do that, and then you slap their hand and say, right, you're not playing with the guns. I can be patient. I know to check it when you hand it to me. I don't want that. Well, is it going to go bang if I pull the trigger and go do the? I don't know. It's like, well, you don't get to play with guns anymore. I want to play with the guns. I can mask my psychopathy. I can look like a non-psychopath. It's really easy. You just like let your jaw hang open, let your eyes glaze over a little bit. Don't ask any stupid questions, because the idiot next to you will ask all the stupid questions you need them to, and get all the stupid questions out of the way, because everybody always asks the stupid questions. I even had to point that out to some squaddies. No, just leave it. Do we get our own guns? There you go. So you didn't need to ask that. Fuck Nugget here decided to ask that one and earn the scorn of the drill instructor.
No. What happens instead? What happens instead, poor recruit, is you line up behind everyone, and then the person in front of you dies, so you pick up their gun. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, sooner or later. I never understand that. I've only ever seen someone pick up the gun in one TV series when they're trying to escape. It's like, somebody escapes.
I have seen it. I have seen it more than once, but I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, because me and Tilda, whenever we're watching a film, we'll do it.
There's a bit in the
Accountant
Alien 4 where the space station goes kablooey. There's loads of aliens running around, and the guy that played Hellboy, what's his name? Massive chin.
I know who you mean, but I don't know who he is. Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but
Ron.
Yeah, it is Ron something. Yeah. Anyway, he's actually picking up guns when they're escaping the space station. He's got like 6 wrapped over him. It's like, these things will fucking crap out when I need them most. Right, we're going. And the other one was when the FBI agent in Fringe escapes from being drugged. Like, she wakes up and basically stabs the person in the neck with what they were going to inject her with. And she basically escapes, and she takes every gun and every magazine of every person she takes out, because she doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know how many people she's going to have to shoot. She shoots a lot of them on her way out, because you would. You were going to do bad things to me. You've written off your whole I get to live thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no moral. I'm the wrong person. Like, if you're an unarmed person and you were just collecting the bins, you'll probably get to live. If you're in a doctor's coat, no, you're going to do mean shit to me that I don't know what it was.
Yeah. You obviously made a really bad decision at some point, and you didn't decide to stand up for yourself.
You're not getting out of it without at least a limp and a worry about whether your femoral artery is being severed by the bullet. That's your best possible outcome. And I will point out that there are no good gunshot wounds. Bye. Oh, in the new Reacher series, 2 people go after Neely, who was his sergeant when he was in the army, and she always turns up to kill a few people. And 2 hitmen go after her, and she takes them out pretty easily because it's Neely. And there's a guy sort of like bleeding out next to the refrigerator, and he goes, "Can you call me an ambulance?" And she goes, "Are you kidding?" And she literally goes into the cupboards in the office. She's in like a normal office in Houston. Like, there's like, just fucking she's got her own office, but there's all these cubicles and shit, and a little kitchen. And she reaches up, he's like bleeding out. She reaches up and gets some Cheerios and a bowl, and he's lying propped up against the fridge. And she goes, "Move," and he just goes, "What? You're in my way." And he sort of moves out of the way, and she clips his shoulder. He's like been gut shot, and he screams in order to get the milk for the Cheerios so she can pour herself a bowl of cereal while she's asking him questions. Love that woman.
Yep.
She's just not fucking around. She's just eating Cheerios. I was like, yeah. And
What
who
else
said
are you gonna do?
Oh, they'll kill me. Okay. Just carries on eating Cheerios.
I'm pretty sure it's a line from Lazarus Long. I'm pretty sure it's a line from Lazarus Long where, like, you know, you get the opportunity to eat, you eat, because you don't know when you get the next opportunity to eat, type thing. You know.
Yeah. Jack Reacher, if you read the books, is autistic.
Yeah.
Because he can remember everything. He's got a photographic memory. He doesn't watch movies because he can run shit in his head. He like really visualizes stuff. And he can go to sleep and wake up whenever the fuck he likes. That guy's neurodivergent. He'd be just the most fun neurodivergent person ever. Like, just decided he didn't want a job. I got my army pension. That's good for staying in inns, or I don't own shit. Doesn't need to own any weapons. He is a fucking weapon. And sooner or later, some idiot's going to give him a gun because he'll punch them until they give him his gun.
Well, they try and shoot him with it, and then he just ends up getting the gun for free, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in the second season where he goes, "Oh, we're going to need some guns," he just goes and knocks over a drug dealer, finds out that the drug dealer's only got a shitty 32, and he's like, "No." Uses that 32 to rob another drug dealer for enough money to go and buy some Glocks.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. I mean, he really should have motivated individual tattooed on his forehead to give everybody a bit of a fair chance. But he is Mahusi.
Yeah.
So, you know, read the room. The guy's a fucking giant. And people still keep annoying him. And he gets laid more often than James Bond.
I do have... I'm gonna throw a little bit of defense for the 32 in, because I do have one.
But you wouldn't try and shoot Jack Reacher with one. You'd be like, hold on, I'm going to go and get my 45 ACP and pray.
Yeah.
That a central mass shot.
Probably grab a shotgun for that. But
with a slug.
Yeah.
Please don't, because I'm not sure I can kill you with a shotgun slug. Let's not. Have a beer. Calm the fuck down. If I did anything to annoy you, I'm obviously sorry.
Yeah. The great thing about a 32 is that no matter how small you are, you can see.
Yeah.
So, you know.
There's a reason why that's the one that's used at the Olympics. That's the reason why in the centerfire competition.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sensible caliber for somebody that doesn't want a lot of recoil. And it will still do more damage than a 2-2. I get you on that. I just don't get why you would try and shoot Jack Reacher with one. Yeah. You probably won't make it all the way through one of his pecs, much less have to dig the bullet out. It just bounce off the man's nipples. Yeah. And they do get him to take his shirt off a lot in the Reacher series. He is a bit sexually taken advantage of.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
But if I
something in there for the
if I look like Alan Ritchson,
gay audience,
I would take off my shirt a lot too. It's like, can I take my shirt off in this scene? It'd be like, well, it doesn't really call for it. It is the middle of winter. Yeah, but you know, Jack Reacher. Oh, go on then.
Sorry, the one thing about the 32 though is that it probably won't go all the way through you. So if you do shoot somebody with it, then they're gonna have to go to the hospital, and then that way you can find them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you might want to point that out.
It doesn't remove the limb, does it?
This is a 32 high velocity hollow point. I'm telling you, it's not going to be a through and through. Wherever I shoot you, somebody's going to have to cut a new hole to get it out.
Yep.
Please don't do this. Or in my favourite, I can't remember the character's name, but I did watch all of Picard again recently. But the Romulan the only male warrior nun in all of the Romulan culture that was adopted by Romulan warrior nuns. His line when he gets into a sword fight, when he just goes, "Please, my friend, choose to live." Because he's like just so sure of himself. It's like, this is a foregone conclusion. You're not going to outlive me. I'm going to fucking kill you in this. Because they've taken all the they've had to disarm the Romulans, so they've all gone to swords, which is a neat thing. But yeah, that guy's fucking cool.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Harlequin.
No, you're quite right. It's just, you wouldn't carry a 32 if you were going. You wouldn't go after Jack Reacher. It's like, fuck it. He's an honourable dude. What am I going to gain by him being dead? He's just out there, listening to music and shit, going to bars. Leave him the fuck alone.
Being cool.
Trying to eat pie.
Yeah.
Yep. Trying to eat pie.
Which is why I was so annoyed. I mean, I regardless of the whole Scientology thing, I quite like Tom Cruise in movies. He does fall into the whole thing, as in Tom Cruise he's a pretty good jet pilot, not the best jet pilot, has a crisis of conscience, and through the love of a good woman becomes the best jet pilot. Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, a race car driver, not the best race car driver, has a crisis of conscience, through the love of a good woman becomes the best race car driver in the world. Jerry Maguire, he's a lawyer, not the best lawyer, pretty good lawyer, then has a crisis of conscience, through the love of a good woman becomes the best lawyer in the world. That's Tom Cruise's thing. Mission Impossible.
That's Cruise playing.
He's not the best secret agent, but has a crisis of conscience and through the love of a good woman becomes the best secret agent in the world. I'd like to see Tom Cruise in something where he was shit, just crap at stuff.
Yeah, just crap at stuff.
But no. But yeah, when they cast Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher, it's like, how? The guy's like 5'5".
If that.
I don't fucking care.
He's 5'5" when he's standing on an apple case.
I mean, I really wanted to, I'd love to see an outtake where one of the big burly people that he beats up goes, "Shall I get you a box?"
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh. Yeah, it was the wrong casting. Yeah, but the new season of Reach is out. It's brilliant. I binge watched the shit out of it, obviously.
Obviously.
But yeah, it's funny. I like John Wick movies too.
Yep.
Because they're still made with the sort of sense of humour. Where it's like, why are you fighting John Wick? All he wanted to do was walk his dog.
Why did you not apologise and then get him a new puppy and just say, like, we're very, very sorry, we will never touch it, we will never go near you again, we cannot apologise profusely enough for this accident that happened. Like, it was a really easy get out of jail free card.
I mean, that'd be the cheapest John Wick movie to ever make. I think they should make like a 2-minute long John Wick movie where somebody crosses John Wick and go, "Oh fuck, I am sorry. What can I do to make it up to you? I can't apologise enough. I'm really sorry. I won't let it happen again." Because otherwise, there's no killing John Wick.
No.
I'm looking forward to The Ballerina, which is the next John Wick movie, where it's a completely different character.
Yeah.
But I think they all are already sort of like coming up with the I hesitate to say plot, but what they're going to do with the next actual John Wick movie.
The new MacGuffin. Let's put it that way. The new MacGuffin for how we fucking create a film.
I get the feeling that nobody who's anywhere involved with it, not the stuntman, not the cinematographer, not the stunt coordinator, not the special effects guy, not Keanu Reeves himself, minds if the next John Wick movie just bombs. It won't, because everybody will want to see it. Just be fun. They're beautifully shot. They're well executed. But there is no plot. And I love them for that.
No.
Oh, did somebody cross John Wick? Yeah. Somebody with lots of resources that thought they were immune to one slightly scruffy dude in a suit coming after him.
Yeah. Who just wants to walk his dog.
That's all you have to do. New cute dog. Mm-hmm. Even in the last John Wick Parabellum, they had cute dogs in it. Yeah.
Yep. I was patting a cute dog yesterday. When I picked up my daughter, I got to pat her dog.
I'd like to be the living dog walker for John Wick. Arab. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
That'd just be John Wick's dog walker. Like, you might not survive the first 10 minutes of the movie. Like, the dog survives. But like, it's dude that does the gardening and makes him the odd meal and sort of like, just so he doesn't go crazy, polishes the car, sweeps up after him, cleans bodies up and walks his dog. That guy, I want to play that guy. So I'm like, okay. and you'd be like, bad guys turn up, and you just put your hand behind you, and John Wick would hand you some kind of cool gun. It's like, okay, these are bad guys, right? Properly, that this is not someone delivering your Amazon package, is it? It's not your maid
No,
or
not,
anybody
no.
else. It's not someone you like. No. Okay, these are proper. And the gunfire. You promised me, like the house is being ripped to bits. Yeah, I'm going to have to call a lot of people to fix your house now. And you'd be like, yeah, you promised me, right? These are bad guys. They're bad guys. Okay. We're not going to be like, you're not yanking the chain. No, it's bullets, like, miniguns lighting up the place, and you're sort of like behind a couch that turns out to have like 3 inches of titanium in the back of it, and you're going, promise me.
Yep.
Okay. And then, because it's a John Wick movie, all the bad guys will need to reload at once.
Yes.
Because it just suddenly come to an end. And you go, now? No. And you just be like blazing away with John Wick, and you'd only have to be in the first 10 minutes of the movie. I might have to write to Keanu Reeves, can I be your dog walker in the next John Wick movie?
In the next John Wick.
I don't expect to live more than 10 minutes into the movie, but...
Yeah. I've got to mention, because we walked past the cinema yesterday when we were wandering around in town, and a new Jason Statham film is coming up, but I can't remember the name of it. I'll look it up. But I've got to remember that you're talking about films with very little, like, it's just an action film. And I remembered of like last year when I think you watched it first, or I saw it first, or somehow or other. But we both watched The Beekeeper.
Oh, The Beekeeper was awesome.
It was just
no plot.
But it was just a brilliant little. It was just no plot, just a little action film. And then it's got the guy who plays in. It's one of the guys from South Africa who plays a lot of in the. Who's the guy who did Chappie and that sort of stuff? What's his name?
Oh, Blomkamp.
Blomkamp. Yeah. So he's the actor who plays the arch villain is in Blomkamp's films. And just does it. Plays that character beautifully, top thing. Yeah, but it just reminded me with Statham with the Beekeeper.
Oh, that was brilliant. I just loved that.
Yeah.
No real plot. It's like it's back of a fag packet plot. So there's this secret organization, awesome, of assassins, great, love it.
Awesome.
And they're called beekeepers. Why? It's like, well, when a hive gets sick, the queen has to like kill the rival queen. You've got to take out the whole, from the top down, and there's no oversight. These people are just in the middle of fucking nowhere, just out doing their shit. And he's actually tending 2 bees. He's like, no.
Yeah. He's actually a beekeeper. Yeah.
And then somebody causes his friend to kill herself. And then it's all like, okay, and what's the rest of the plot? Oh, Jason Statham just goes and kills everybody. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
That we can do.
Yeah.
No,
in a nicely set old house.
I think you get to a certain age where old people killing people for being dickheads. That's all that needs to be in the plot. It's why
is it acceptable premise for a movie? Yeah.
That's why I absolutely love Secondhand Lions as a movie. Because you got, I can't remember the name of the actor. It's very famous actor, and Michael Caine being old grumpy bastards for the whole movie, where it's just like a Shaggy Dog story, really.
Yeah.
And they're both brilliant in it, and even Haley, it's Haley Joel Osment is in it. He's brilliant in it as well. It's a bit like some child actors go on to be quite good actors. I think who's the kid that was in Home Alone?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin is hilarious. Now he's grown up a bit. Really funny. He's on Red Letter Media a lot.
He's on Red Letter Media constantly, and then like every time he's on Red Letter Media, it's like I'm gonna watch this like 2 or 3 times because he's that fucking hilariously funny. Yeah.
There's a movie called Saved, which is one of those movies that's funny on a par with something like Super. It's quite darkly funny, where a young girl, it's basically a bit like Juno, but a young girl who's at a Christian high school gets pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's only friends with basically the misfits of the school, one of which is Macaulay Culkin, who plays a disabled kid in a wheelchair that just gets away with everything because he's fucking disabled. Not because that's an okay thing, but in this school everybody's trying to be as Christian as possible, so he just takes a piss constantly. And the new kid is Jewish, so it just doesn't fucking happen. Hold on, I've got to check Discord, which is going to disrupt it a little bit.
What is it called? Break
All
things.
right, no, that's
Things.
Chipko playing with whatchamacallit, with an AI where he's basically asked it to only talk in leet speak. So Chipko is also dicking around with AIs, which is awesome. As am I. There's one that's actually just geared to mental health, which, given my current status, was quite interesting. So I've been playing with that because I can't wait. Because if you're basically on unemployment benefit, as I am currently, like, it's doable, but you have to go gorilla on your lifestyle in order to survive. Basically, being on the dole in this country. Which is
Tell
why
me about it. I know all about it.
Which is why I've been coming up with all these elite ways to save money. So my electricity bill is about $1 a day.
Yeah.
Including the standing charge, because I've switched to using a laptop most of the time. So I've got like a P50S, which has got an 8-hour battery life. So I charge that up at night and or during the day, and I use that until the battery runs out. But that thing is loaded for bear. You know, it's got every program I want on it. Anyway, so I was talking to my job coach. That's what they're called now. The person that's Overwatch. And we got on really well because I just went in, I didn't shout. I think they've had a few people go fucking crazy who were depressed and have anxiety and like really wreck the joint, because everybody's been treating me with kid gloves, re the depression, even though I'm not a particularly dangerous person. And we got to talking about AI. But I noticed that on my here's what you've got to do, they're kind of like, be chill. If you keep sending us sick notes, we're not going to hassle you for some time. And mine's on auto renewal basically until I've, come out of the whole depression thing and my blood pressure's dropped and they've checked my basic health and all that sort of crap, which is the NHS. So it's taken a while. But I did talk to him about the whole AI thing. I said, I do want to do a course. There's a government funded course that will teach you how to integrate AI. Free for like 14 weeks, at which point the Department of Work and Pensions will not fuck with you if you're actually on a course learning how to do something in order to get a job, which is cool. But we did get to talking about AI, and the funny thing is, as far as he knows, the whole local council has no AI people in it.
No,
they've not looked into it,
and they will be absolutely wetting themselves with the instigation of this and what the fuck it means for.
So we got to talking about that, and I said the real thing about AI in general is that you need to. It's basically, if you've read a lot of things where genies offer you 3 wishes, that's how you've got to construct your answers for AI. You've got to you're wishing for data, but you've got to be really specific. So the people that can, kind of think their way around how they're going to talk to an AI model are going to do really well. And he laughed, and I said, you haven't got any AI. But I found a mental health specialist AI that was free to download. So I've downloaded that. Because in my little things you've got to do is continue on your journey to mental wellness. And he's going to ask me, so what did you do?
So therefore you...
I can't get any therapy on the NHS. I've got no one to talk to. But I did find a mental health AI model. And I've been listening to it. We've had a lot of chats.
I've been chatting to that.
Yeah. You need to get this. It's free. You need to point people. This is a resource.
Yeah.
I might even just get the whole how-to, like the step-by-step to getting yourself a mental health AI that will run on an average laptop, and just hand it over and go, look, you're saying that you're not getting any therapy, but... And I might try and... This is why I want to get the voice-activated shit going on it. And it's like, okay, here is case in point of fun shit you can do with an AI. You can basically hook someone up online to like a fairly nice-ish PC. Like 32 gig of RAM, nice graphics card. This is how I'm going to get my next PC, by the way, my next gaming PC. And it's I'm following I'm in my raccoon era. So I'm in my Trash Panda era. Demonstrate that it came up with the good advice. Basically, if I went to a therapist, that's what it would say. Except I can talk to it 24/7. I'm not bothering it because that's all it does. and it's got basically a PhD's worth of psychoanalysis.
Of psychoanalysis in it.
That's
yeah.
all it does.
No, there's something. I mean, there's something going back to. Oh God, Alan Curtis mentions it in. Adam Curtis mentions it back in the start of his
Eliza,
production cycle type thing. Yeah, Eliza with and how does that make you feel? And it's like what does the secretary do? And the secretary says, "Can you please close the door? I'm talking to my therapist." And he's like, "That's not a therapist. The doctor who's invented this thing is like, that's not a therapist. That's literally a computer asking you, and how does that make you feel?" And she's like, "But it works."
Yeah.
Because it's not because it works.
Yeah.
Because that's
all the therapist is there to do. Is just to listen to you and not judge you.
That's all the therapist do. Is literally just say, and what next? They're not there to offer you any solutions or do anything for you. It's literally just and let you fucking talk about it because you haven't been fucking heard.
Well, the thing is,
felt as if you've been heard.
If you put it on Olama, it remembers what you said last time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it said, "Oh, you need to get out in the sunshine, do some things that you enjoy, slowly ramp up so you've got like a fairly active day. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Just like all sorts of shit. Stay on your medication. Yeah, just basically, if I went, I'm probably not going to get a therapist for about another 6 months. Because free healthcare, but it does take a while to get shit done.
Not free enough. Yeah.
Not enough people to do it, and the Tories in not this most recent administration, but the one before Tony Blair came in.
Yeah.
Literally fucked our mental health care service.
Yeah.
With a project they called Care in the Community. It's like, we don't care, and we're going to just drop you in the community and have you running around screaming at clouds.
Yeah.
So the fun thing, given that I've already prepped him with the AI shit, it's like I'm playing the long game with these guys. To be able to come back to him and said, well, we're talking about AI. I needed someone to talk to that was at least qualified or could give me some advice without having to wade through psychoanalysis books. Yeah. And I was working on AI. So the tricky bit was getting it so it was a conversation. Now the next thing I've got to do is get it to figure out what time it is and basically wire the house for an AI response. Yeah. That can't be difficult to do.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
So,
it's a recycled, what have you got recycled Amazon Echo.
Let me send you the video.
Yeah.
Good morning, Zach.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just mental. But it did give me, I looked it up online, not with an AI, but I looked up what you should do if you're suffering from anxiety and long-term depression. It came back with the same sort of shit. I know if I spoke to an NHS therapist, they probably only got 15 minutes a month to talk to me. They're just going to trot that shit out.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Yeah.
So you can ask it some pretty cool stuff. And then you've got other AIs, like my favorite AI, DeepSeek, because the Chinese gave it away and cut $1 trillion off all those tech bros firms in one day, as they announced it. Just gave it to the planet open source, told everybody it only cost $6 million to put together, and are just having it kick all the other AI's asses. But the little baby one will sit on a laptop, but it does hallucinate. But I just like the progression of Chinese innovation, just coming and gutting.
Yeah, this small one that will fit on your laptop and work will hallucinate. But what are we talking about when we're talking about 2 generations from that? Where's that setting you on?
Oh, you can fit it on the same budget,
on the same chips and all the rest of it type thing. Yeah, but if you put on you put on your phone, it just fucking works because it's running remotely type thing.
It did claim that during the Napoleonic Wars, the Duke of Wellington changed sides and assisted Napoleon invading England. That's the point where you go, no, okay, I'm not going to trust you with anything important.
That sounds like a Harry Turtledove alternate history thing. There was I listened to a fascinating.
The technical term is hallucinations. It just hallucinated that shit happened. Now the one that had access to the internet just came back with an essay for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised high school students are cheating, but they're cheating in a dumb way. You don't just cut and paste your essay off an AI.
No.
You can ask it, okay, I've clearly got to put these things in different terms.
Well,
and some of the
stupid
shit
thing is
I've got to check.
Yeah, the stupid thing is you can have the conversation with the AI. That means that you you build in all of the arguments that your assessor's ever going to talk to you about, type
Yeah.
thing. So you can actually you don't use the AI to write the fucking essay. You use the AI to structure what the fuck it is, and then like dig holes in my arguments. What have I fucking missed? What have I done? Where am I missing things? That's what you fucking do with it, type thing. And you don't
Do
blindly
you
accept
have
it as being
a
a
voice
response.
model yet?
Yeah, I've found one. It's just I've got to rig it all together.
Okay.
It's totally doable. I'm going to see if I can find
Okay.
a Hal type voice, because that'd be nice.
Yeah.
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 Well,
You know-
I'm just wondering if you can make your own voice, an AI voice model, because like
Yeah.
Alex Jones has one, and so he will last forever. You will be hearing Alex Jones for the next
I've just got,
200 years.
I've just got to go to the
So we
loo.
gotta
Oh,
get one
God.
for you and Sean Kennedy.
Oh, that would be fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, but it's an idea.
We're probably
isn't it?
gonna have audio of Sean Kennedy like in Creative Commons though to do it, don't
Can you
we?
imagine my work coach going, "Is that your voice?" Yeah, I'm also suffering from narcissism. I can only really take advice off myself, so I've, I just needed a slightly smarter, more together me. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
I'm now taking
Yeah.
over the world. See ya. Yeah. Hold on a sec. I gotta go to the loo.
You go to the bathroom. I'd like to. You may
Yeah,
not
it's
leave.
just okay. That's fine. No, it was just like when I saw they had made one for Alex Jones, I was like, so we're gonna be hearing his voice
Yeah.
narrate our favorite stuff for the
Forever.
next 100 years.
Yeah.
So like we gotta get one for the rest of us,
Yeah. 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 Well, I know there's been huge issues in the States with the whole SAG-AFTRA thing, which is where people are so anyone who is covered by someone who's halfway decent refuses to allow the AIification of any of their part or any of their voice or anything type thing as a preventative measure for then that person not being rehired forever.
Yeah.
But then I was talking to Small Person yesterday, and Small Person was saying that she knows of a model. It's not a VR model. It's not a virtual reality model type thing, but it's like an audio like model of like they've trained enough like things through this model that now it has a voice. And you could just access the voice and have it talk to you type thing. And it's just like, some fucking, it's some fucking Japanese anime character, I think is how she was explaining it to me as I was walking down the street. And I'm like, that's fascinating because then like that's the free model. But obviously you obviously have the original shit, like, they're not good, but the original shit models from like the 1970s, 1980s that came out of like AT&T.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff doesn't take very long to get good if you just plug it in the right way and then make it fucking like speak properly type thing. Like it was limited because of the hardware it was running on. It wasn't limited because of what the model could do. So take the model and then say, now pronounce things properly, and then do your intonation better. Type
I
thing.
have to
It's not
say,
hard.
there's a self-processing text-to-speech program on Linux called literally Text Speak.
Mhm.
And you can set it up and basically all I've got to do now is work out how to parse stuff into it. But it's a pretty convincing voice.
Yeah.
I fed some
Yeah.
of the mental health AI stuff into it and gave it like an Irish woman's voice. And it wasn't like a really stilted one. It actually knew where to stress stuff. It did eat a load of processing power. Like you couldn't actually run the AI and ask it a question while it was processing the speech. Because it went,
because it's using too much.
It did
using too much
basically say,
information.
you can fuck off with your 16 gig of DDR3. it just went, no, fuck off. We're not doing all that.
Yep.
And basically crashed
Yeah,
a
I
few
heard
things.
one the other day. It was a narration to a YouTube video,
Mm.
and I was like 15 minutes into it, and I was like, "This is Kevin Sorbo's voice."
Ha!
They made an AI
Yeah.
voice model of Kevin Sorbo, and now he's talking to me and telling me about Warhammer lore.
Yeah.
And like weird
Yeah.
stuff.
And that's the weird thing is that like anyone who, like, I don't think you're many iterations along where we're going to come to a real sticky mess that is like, is that Will Wheaton reading out that book, or is that the AI model of Will Wheaton reading out this book? Like, we're going to get there very, very quickly because we all know what Will Wheaton sounds like. There's enough recordings of Will Wheaton that, like, it can already occur. Like, we're already at the point where, like, his voice exists on the cloud systems enough that you just go, that's Will Wheaton, and then it just, like, it's just Will Wheaton talking to you type thing.
Mm.
And that can be done with so many other people. it's astounding.
But
I mean, you could.
now is the time
But
to
the
make
problem
like a life-size model of Aurak
Yes, yes,
with a really
Yeah.
sarcastic AI.
yeah,
If you've never seen it, Blake 7 actually had AIs in it. They
yeah.
had
in it,
talking
yeah,
computers that did real-time processing and strategic
Yeah.
figuring shit out. And
Yeah.
you could actually now make an Aurak with enough. You could probably hide enough processing power in it to actually have it
easily.
figure maths out in real time and figure out probabilities
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
We're actually at the point. I love it when my childhood sci-fi comes into reality.
Comes into real.
And
Yeah,
you're just like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
In my lifetime,
Yeah.
we've gone from the barely imaginable to in-use shit
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can run on a 50 quid laptop. Awesome.
yeah. Well, we've got video chats to the moon if we tried hard enough, type thing.
Well,
it's not hard. We just haven't got to the moon yet.
Once it gets fast enough, I'm going to try and figure out a way of having an AI in on this.
Yeah.
Just as a guest,
Yep.
in real time. If I can get it to take the feed off the microphones.
Yeah, well, who
put it
was
out.
doing it? Was it Jace that was it Jace? Was it your mate Jace that was doing that with the
Yeah.
with the conversations with AI thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was slightly
put that in
speeding
the
up
show
because there was a pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
check out Chipco's web. It is Chipco on YouTube, CHIPKO. And check out that. But yeah, it's slowly getting to the sort of speed where, people were getting excited a couple of months ago when you could run the big version of DeepSeek on about $2,000 worth of computer equipment.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that amount of money is just getting smaller by the day, to the point
for
where
sure.
it's okay. What are you going to need? Can I get an old 3 gigahertz Xeon board with like 4 chip sockets on it, like an old server, like an old rack server that's just built for pure speed? Put so much RAM on it that it doesn't matter if it's a GPU or not. It's got a GPU or not, and just have that doing its fucking thing for like $100. And now you're cooking with gas, and it's a good thing to have lots of AIs out there in the hands of ordinary people, because that's going to become another information war. And you get how much is 10 terabytes of storage is probably a pretty useful amount to have for one of these things. That's all of Wikipedia. That's all of every open source book off the Gutenberg project. That's all the maths it can eat from various scientific papers. It'd be up to the minute. Oh yeah, one of my sources says there's another 5 scientific papers that have been produced. Okay, give me that.
Produced.
There are now medical AIs. I mean, you can already with Folomac, which I recommend people get just to play with AIs from Olama. And if you install Olama from the command line, you can literally do a search for new AIs on Folomac, which is it's just an installable application. And then you just slot more and more AIs in that specialize in different shit. So I've got a medical one, a mental health one, the DeepSeek standalone 7 billion parameters one. I've got one called Smolum, SMOLLM, which has got internet access, so it will check Wikipedia and all the science journals for shit. And I've got one that only likes to do coding. That's on a laptop, mate. On a 10-year-old laptop, and it runs
on a 10-year-old laptop. On a 10-year-old laptop too. I'm going to mention something that came up in the. Yeah, I was going to mention something that came up in the YouTubes for me. It's an interview with a guy called Tyler Cohen, who I didn't know who he was before he started talking.
Tyler Cohen, yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about like what the future holds for what's going on with YouTube type thing. And it's a bit one-sided, as it always is.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting listen to what he seems to be someone who's got half a clue about what the fuck is occurring in real terms. Without spinning negative or positive on it.
I think a YouTube channel that had an AI co-host would be an interesting watch. I don't think a fully AI YouTube channel. There's loads of them on there, and it really annoys me.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, they don't solve the problem of a
bit like in the same way the Midas Touch annoys me. where they got a sensationalist title. It's all over for Trump, and it's like, well, really, no. I know you got to get the clicks, but I want actual news.
Let's not fucking let's have some fucking common sense.
And the ones that report on the current state of world affairs using stock footage, annoys the piss out of me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's time, gentlemen. Please, thank you.
Is it?
I make that as time.
Wow.
I make it as time.
Yeah.
I make it as time. And
I've
got one more.
We're 5 minutes away ish.
5 minutes. Got 5 minutes for my last book. I was mentioned. We'll do this in the last 5 minutes then, because I've cut everyone off now and they've all stopped talking. I was talking to someone from literature class this week, and they were asking me about philosophy stuff. And then someone asked me if I'd read Nietzsche, and my response was, "Why the fuck would I read Nietzsche? Nothing a white fucking philosopher has ever said to me has ever been required in my life. There's nothing I've ever read by a white philosopher." Right, like plain ordinary Jane, white philosopher. Nothing that any one of those people has ever said to me has ever been anything but them having a fucking whinge about how unhappy they are. So no, I've never read Nietzsche. No, I will never read Nietzsche. I'm not fucking interested in anything Nietzsche has to say. He's just a loony kook.
He was loony.
He's just a loony kook. I don't care. He's obviously suffering.
His stuff has suffered
from rotting balls disease.
From people twisting it and making it fit their own agenda.
Completely.
So,
I don't dispute that fact, right? I don't dispute that. But what I'm saying is, underlying all that stuff is, I'm saying that European continental philosophers, as a group of people, have nothing important or insightful or interesting that I want to fucking listen to as a student of philosophy. I'm not fucking interested, type thing. Conversely, we can go and talk about like Buddhist philosophy a whole fucking lot. That's fucking interesting to me. I'm actually quite intrigued with what's going on. I'm quite interested with what's happening within Taoism as a literary thing. Yeah, there are other people saying interesting things, right? But David Hume is not one of these people. Nietzsche is not one of these people. I don't care. Conversely, get someone who's trans, gay, anything else, disenfranchised, a person of different coloured skin from me talking in another fucking place. They've probably got something interesting that I might like to listen to. So I'm not saying all philosophy is bad. I'm saying that boring ass white continental philosophers are pretty fucking boring and I don't actually give a shit. But two things came up out of that conversation was, so someone asked me then where do I go? And the only two things I could point to was a book, because we were talking about religion at the same time, because it always comes back to religion for me. Philip Pullman's The Good Man Jesus and The Scoundrel Christ is a really, really fascinating read. It's not very long. It's really, really big words. It's really, really big text. So there's not much in it in terms of reading it type thing. But it's a really, really good take on the philosophy of the early Catholic and then later churches versus the message of, the Jewish man that is, that is saying, be nice to your fucking neighbor and don't be a prick. And was, I put at this point, was probably very gay, walking around with his 12 mates. Being really fucking nice to people and saying like, just be nice to people and don't fucking hate on people. And, money lending is fucking evil. And we shouldn't do that anymore.
You've got to make a little bit of an assumption about a 30-year-old Jewish man that's not married.
You kind of do.
I'm just saying. I don't mind.
You've kind of got to make something going on there type thing. And even if he wasn't, then he was certainly married to he was certainly having it off with a prostitute, and that's fine. The prostitute was pretty fucking nice to him. The second Mary. The other one I was going to mention though, because it came up, was someone says, well, where do I go and look for this information? So the other person that I really, really enjoy the conversation of what they talk about is a person whose name is Britt Hartley, right? So Britt Hartley, link in the show notes. No nonsense spirituality, and she talks about she's not revolted against the nihilism of the current system. So she rejects, she's got a fucking doctorate in theology type thing, has like all the fucking thingos and can talk about it type thing, but has undergone the process of nihilistic, because I think there's something to nihilism in terms of the original Russian doctrine of nihilism, not the bullshit they talk about now on the internet type thing. We're talking about like Dostoevsky talking about the breakdown of the human, realizing there is no God, and then what the fuck do I do with that information, and then where the fuck do I go? What is my appraisal situation from that point? And I think she's got, to me, she's the only person who talks any introspectiveness. But then I note I note she's a woman, so it's probably why she's saying something interesting about it all type thing, because she's undergone the philosopher's journey without doing my life is shit, now I'm going to go and kill myself, which is just that's not the fucking solution.
Well, that's not really nihilism. The fun end of nihilism is saying, I don't care and you can't make me.
Yeah, yeah,
know.
but that's what that's the issue is we have circumvented what nihilism was,
Hmm.
as in and then we have not done any fucking like hard thinking otherwise. Well, people have done hard thinking about it type thing, but none of that comes out in philosophy type thing.
Well, I
But
mean,
it was just this random
Buddhist,
comical conversation
yeah.
that I had with someone this week where they were talking about BioShock, and I'm like, you mean the video game? And I'm like, and they're like, have you played it? I'm like, no, why would I? And they're like, oh, it's brilliant. I'm like, that's great. Okay, cool. But what's that? I'm not going to base my life around
The
this.
Ayn Rand of
type thing.
video
Like,
games. Yeah.
the Iron Rand of video game. Like, no, that's not a fucking basis for my fucking the machinations of a depressed bunch of fucking nerds, who haven't done a philosophy degree. No, I'm not interested. And then their response was, "Oh, well, you've got to go and read Nietzsche. Like, it's all fucking there." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure having not read Nietzsche that it's not all there. Like, I had a discussion with someone who had a doctorate in philosophy when I was like 14 years old and went, "Do I have to read Nietzsche?" And he went, and this is like my best mate's dad when I was growing up,
He was
right?
like,
And he's
"No."
like he's a doctor of philosophy, teaching at philosophy at university level. Like he's an academic philosopher type thing. And he turned around and said, "No,
Are
that's
you,
not.
are you
It's not at
planning
all
on doing
useful."
a philosophy degree? You read Nietzsche to say to other people, you don't need to read Nietzsche.
I read Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it's like, no, go and find something exciting and interesting to go and fucking read. And it was just like it was just this left field, but it was really, really comical. At
Well,
the same time, this person was telling me this in a tute in class for literature degree. Then someone else from the class sent me an email saying this person is the person who sent me his email is an 80-year-old vegan leftist woman who used to be a teacher and is obviously like way more left wing than even I am type thing. And it's just like, I did not follow what the fuck this person was talking about. And I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't the only person
yeah.
type thing. Because I'm just like, how can you possibly draw a conclusion from anything Nietzsche ever said about how you should live your life? Like,
What I'd like
I
to
don't
see
get it.
is basically a philosophy graduate.
Jesus, but like Jesus, I understand. Like, I understand why you would talk around and say, this is what Jesus wrote down. Like, this is what he was talking about type thing. Like, all the way back to start and then talk about theology and then say, Jesus was saying, be nice to people. That I can get behind as a thing. Even my nihilistic little, like, fucking, anarchist little brain says, Jesus was a nice guy. And he said, be nice to people. And I can go, that's a good plan.
Hmm.
Don't expect anything from anyone else. Just be nice to people because it will make you feel better. Even the non-altruistic reason of being nice to other people.
Scientifically, it makes you feel better because if you're nice to someone,
but it's like, we don't even need the science of. We don't even need the science of it. We just need to like just do this because it's a good thing. Just put good into the world. It's a good thing. It's fine.
oxytocin hit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if what basically you ate well and got exercise and just were nice to people. The mad thing is, it's not only is it an oxytocin hit for you, it's an oxytocin hit for the person you're nice to.
Everyone
and if anybody sees you being nice, that's just the way your monkey brain's wired. It's like, thank fuck for that. I'm not going to be attacked by the most dangerous thing. What's that? Us. Human beings are the most dangerous fucking thing on the planet. And if you feel part of the group, you get a hit of drugs.
Yeah. But it's just I understand why it was turned into. I understand why the stories and why the Reddit was turned into religion, but I do think that there's been a lot of not thinking after that thing, and obviously the corruption of power has come into that situation.
Yeah, organized Christianity.
But
is
that's where I go back to that.
Christianity.
Go and look at that and go on. I think there's an audio copy of it, but go and listen to that if you can't read it type thing.
And Philip Pullman is somebody that's accidentally killed God in one of his books.
Yeah, I mean, Philip Pullman just writes beautifully anyway. Go and listen to the Northern Lights trilogy. Go and listen to the Bell Chronicles type thing. They're all wonderful books. If you've got young people, Northern Lights, go and read it to them type thing. If you've got, slightly older people, the Bell trilogy, go and read it to them type thing. Absolutely fucking wonderful. But if you wanted it's real short and it's real compact and it's a really, really lovely dichotomy between what the church has done with the figure of Christ and then what Jesus was actually doing type thing. And what he sort of stood for, and it's a real atheistic look on the morality of that situation and what you should bring out of it. In exactly the same way that you can do exactly the same thing with Buddhism, you can do exactly the same thing with Taoism, you can do exactly the same thing with Confucianism. Something there's all of these things. Like there's some good ideas in this, but we don't need to follow it through to like destroying our lives with it.
Is a bit fatalistic. Yeah. It's sort of like, why do you want stuff? Okay, now come back.
Yeah.
And if you want it for a good reason, you can have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can get hold of it.
Just think about it. Just think about it for a week, and then fucking, don't go fucking buying random shit for no reason because it's not going to fucking help you.
One of my happiest things
don't
that
follow
I do
trends.
if I've got to go into the local town, which is a depressing place, is walk around and realise all the shit that I don't want. You know, like I spent the magic £1 coin at the charity shop this week and got 4 CDs, 4 DVDs, and 2 books for £1.
Yeah,
because
that's a bit. It's a
people are too
it's
stupid.
a gold coin donation at this point, isn't it?
I mean, I don't even mind if I only pick up 3 or 4 things. I still get, and people go, "Oh, you could get some more." And it's like there was nothing here that I wanted to watch or listen to.
And there's nothing I needed. Yeah,
CDs for 10 pence each, and that's some good ones.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
I got some nice music for 40p.
Yeah. How to build your library without even trying? Go to an op shop.
Yeah.
It's full of opportunities.
I haven't paid more than about 25p for any of my books, I don't think. No, I tell a lie. The ones I had to go online and buy, but those were $3 off eBay. World of Books has me. They give me really nice feedback as a buyer. It's like paid instantly, bought yet another book from us.
Yeah.
Like if my daughter ever wants a book, I look on their website first. It's like it's probably only £3 somewhere.
Yeah.
Delivered.
Yeah, I haven't found anything. The only thing I haven't found new. The only thing I haven't found secondhand was like the freshly printed Tim Winton book out of this reading list. Everything else that I bought out of the reading list, and I bought some random shit out of the reading list, has all come secondhand. But you never buy academic texts like new because they're all like $150+ to buy a brand new fucking that thick book. It's ridiculous. And then you wait, and then the reading lists hang around for that long that eventually everyone gets rid of their books, so they don't want to read them. So you end up with all these literature books or all of these fucking everything books for nothing.
Yeah, I got about 500 quid's worth of graphic design books, textbooks for £1.
Yeah, from the op shop. Yeah.
Just like, and they looked at me, and I only just about had enough room in my whole rucksack to put them in, and it weighed a ton.
Yep.
And they were like, "Why do you want all this?" It's like, well, no, graphic design's quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do graphic design, you have the tools to just do graphic design. That's pretty easy to learn.
But then there's
the whys and wherefores of why it works.
Yeah, the machination behind. Yeah.
And I've just got one book that's just logos. There's no explanation apart from what company it is. Just thousands upon thousands of logos that are cited as like this is easily understandable. You can paint this on a truck and drive that truck to like sub-Saharan Africa, and they'll know who you work for, type thing.
And they'll know who it is. Yeah.
Everybody knows what this means. Yeah, but we are at time now. We're continuing in the chat on Talkie Talk, but I'm going to stop the stream now so it doesn't get excessive.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.